with Mason Mount, gentlemen. He signs for Manchester United. Staffy, I know you're not happy about this. I know you're fuming as a Man United fan. Talk to me.
Terrible, terrible day. My opinion, at least, before anyone comes at me, because people have been very angry at me for expressing my opinion. Because I guess I misunderstood what football YouTube is. I forgot that I'm supposed to go up here and not say my opinion on the signing because I'm not Ten Hag. You know, listen. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It happened. Ten Hag got his signing. I'm gonna try to back the manager as much as I can. I don't agree with it, but as a fan, that's my job to support the club, support the manager. But I'm not happy with it. I don't think it's the right signing for so many reasons. Been talking about it for weeks. I've been analytical about it, tactical about it. The way I look at it, it's just another wrong signing. It's not what we need. I've spoken many times about what we need. We needed someone deeper in the midfield. A lot of people identified Ericsson as that weakness in the midfield. We went and got a player that plays absolutely different than Ericsson. He's not the same profile player, but everyone's trying to tell me P&P, legs, energy. But how about everything else? Like there's a lot of things. I've been waiting for weeks for someone to convince me why the signing is right, and no one can really give me an argument. And Chelsea fans are laughing at us. I have Winter Surfer messaging me as soon as that happens. Don is probably going to dance on my grave right now. There's a reason why everyone's laughing because they know they got to steal 60 million. After all that, doesn't look like we're going to sign another big midfielder. So it makes me even more upset. Terrible day. I honestly, I have no more words to say about this.
I understand no one's been able to convince you, and I don't think anybody will be able to because you're kind of set in your way. What do you think it is that Ten Hag sees in him, though? So I get your opinion, but Ten Hag made him a priority signing before preseason. Ten Hag rates him. Ten Hag's success rate of his signing so far has been pretty good. I know you're someone who backs Ten Hag. Clearly, he sees something in him. What do you believe that is?
I don't know. People told me he's a final third player, so the only thing I can think of is he's trying to win that ball a little bit higher up the pitch, which I understand. Which, if you really think of it, we tried to do that with Fred this season. Because if you remember, Terry, there's a lot of games where Fred was the most advanced midfielder that we have, even over Bruno, and we usually are used to Bruno being the most advanced one. But Fred, we find him in so many situations where he's like pressing right next to the striker, right behind the striker. And I think that's what he's trying to do with Mount. But that's not my issue because I do think he's an upgrade on Fred because that's what everyone was able to just tell me, like, hey, isn't he an upgrade on McTominay and Fred? Well, most of us here on the panel are an upgrade on Fred and McTominay. So that doesn't really say anything for me. I'll take a Gal over Fred. It doesn't, like, it's not the standard to me, you know what I mean? So I get that part. But I'm not paying 60 million to get a replacement for Fred. And then when you play him, because he's going to start, let's be honest, he's going to start for us. You're not paying 60 million for him not to start. I just don't see where he offers us in terms of like what we already have missing in this team. Because when I look at our target last season, our target was Frankie de Jong, okay? He was supposed to come in that team and start next to Casemiro and Fred. Now, you couldn't get him and you went and got Mount. Is he the same profile as Frankie de Jong? No, he's not. If he was like a lesser version of Frankie de Jong, I would understand because that's what we did with Ericsson. We got Ericsson because he's similar to Frankie de Jong. He's not as good, but he's the same idea of player. Mount is just not it. I'm just looking at it. It's another player, and you already know how I feel about Bruno, Terry. We talked about this so many times. I hate how wasteful he is on the ball when it comes to the easy part of the game. I don't care about his assists and chance creation. I'm talking about more of like ball retention. We're adding another player who plays a very similar style to Bruno, who's going to give the ball away a lot, who doesn't retain the ball well. He's not intelligent on the ball. He doesn't keep the ball well. We've went to so many games, away from home especially, and we got spanked because we can't keep the ball. You lose the ball too much. So what did we do? We added another player that's going to do the same thing. Why do I need a player who's going to go get the ball back and has legs when I could just get a player who can retain the ball?
I understand
if you can keep the ball, you don't have to win it back.
My question is, sorry, Mo, I'm going to handle this as a United fan. Sorry. Is the window shut today?
Oh, don't do that.
No, I'm saying, has the window shut today?
No, it hasn't.
So, do you know who else we're going to sign this summer? Do you know who else we're targeting? Do you know what else is in the pipeline?
Of course I don't know.
So the reason, again, the reports I read, and we can take them, you can take them as gospel, you can take them as nonsense, is Man United wanted 2 players through the door in and around the £50 million mark each before pre-season. So they get 2 of their targets in before pre-season. The biggest signings will come after sales are made. And right now, A lot of people ain't biting on what we're trying to sell. They're trying to drive the price down. And hopefully after the takeover goes through. So from Man United's point of view, it's about filling as many holes as possible before then. Some of the other targets of players that we would want to have that retention role, some of them you're looking at 100 plus million, and Man United just don't have the totality of money available right now to do it and get it done. So I think there's a strategy to this. Clubs, I think there is a myth that's been created by YouTube fans and by Twitter especially, that the player you sign first is your number one target. And I don't necessarily think it works that way, because I don't believe Kovacic is the main person City are chasing this summer. I don't believe Kai Havertz is the main target of Arsenal this summer. I don't believe the goalkeeper of Tottenham was their main target, as an example. I don't believe Jackson is Chelsea's number one main target this year. So, look, Rice has been done at Arsenal, but nobody else, unless I'm mistaken, no other top team yet, you could maybe argue Tottenham with Maddison, to be fair, has signed their number one standout player yet. Tonali maybe at Newcastle. So I agree with a lot of what you're saying. My thing to you is, Staffy, you're showing your bum right now. You're pulling your pants down. You're showing your bum far too early in this transfer window. I think that's what I think. I get your questions around Mason Mount. I hold the same ones. But I'm not panicking and angry. We're moving very, very quickly with the deal for Onana, who will transform our team in many, many ways. We are linked to other midfielders like the Caicedos and a few other names that are around. And I just think we should relax a little bit and watch this space. Now, if the club doesn't afford the money to the manager to sign a Caicedo or a Rice, that's a very different conversation. If there's only the money there to sign Rice in midfield at 55 million, and there isn't 100 million available for a Caicedo, because it then means we can't buy a striker and we can't buy a goalkeeper, that's very different from that. That should give you the understanding you need. So what I'm saying is, I think Man United fans, until that takeover's done, I think we have to sit back, give our opinions on players, but wait until the end of the window before we start casting aspersions over my manager's stupid, he's made a mistake, because we
That's
don't
not
know
what I
how
said. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's not what I said.
what you're implying. You're implying we shouldn't have bought Mason Mount. We should get a different kind of manager. That's focused player. That's focusing on the manager. The manager's got his hands tied behind his back right now because of the owners. So I think we have to be a little patient and a little bit calmer as fans, personally.
Yeah, but Terry, but here's my issue. Everything you said, I agree with. But now, if you're being really honest, that this signing right now kind of funds that Caicedo move to Chelsea, because you know this was going to happen anyways, and all the news coming out that Don is laughing because he knows it's true. I'm looking at people around me. I'm looking at my neighbors here in the top 6. I'm looking at Colleen and Igal. Look at them. Like, their smile is ear to ear because they got their player. They got Rice. Okay, so my neighbors got Rice. The guy below me is getting Caicedo. Okay, even Kovacic, someone that I rate, went to City. Yes, he's not a super signing, but he's a better midfielder than Mount, in my opinion. This guy on the left over here, he got Maddison. I'm sitting here with Mason Mount. Everyone got better midfielders than me. And this is my issue with this. It's not only that we got Mount. If we would have got Mount on top of like players that I wanted, if you would have told me, Staffy, I'm going to give you Caicedo and Mount, how do you feel about it? I'll be like, you know what? I'm a little bit sus about Mount, but we got Caicedo. That's the same thing that happened at Arsenal. A lot of them don't know if they want Havertz. They're going to try it out and see how it goes. But you know why they don't complain too much? Because they still got Rice. These guys are going to get Caicedo. They know Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, that's going to be a good mix. This guy got Maddison. Finally, he's going to see creativity in Spurs Stadium. They've been watching fossil football for years. For once, he's going to be watching attacking football. What do I have to watch? I have to watch Mason Mount. I have to wake up at 7:30 in the morning to watch that. I can't promise that anymore. I might go on loan next season because I don't want to watch that.
I think you've got to grow thicker skin and stop letting other fans' happiness make you angry.
It's not even the fans. It's just like everyone is strengthening. That's what I'm trying to say.
What I've heard 4 times from you in 10 minutes is people are laughing at me and I can't take it.
No. But Terry, this is me putting it in a funny way where I'm relating it to, to us.
This is you funny. I hate to see you sad.
No. But I'll tell you, I'm relating it in a funny way where they're basically they're enjoying their transfers. The issue is I'm looking at everyone around us who's going to compete with us. If we're trying to compete next season or finish in the top 4 or whatever, everyone next to me has added better midfielders than me, and this is the issue that I am having. I got one. Like, when you look at everyone that was available this summer, we've arguably got the worst one. We didn't get the top one. We didn't get the second best one or the third best one. Mount, to me, when you gave me that list of when I gave you that list of players that I just listed, it would have been the last one I wanted from all these players that I listed. And that's
and I understand your issue with him. I just think we need to remain a bit patient around what else happens this window. It's still only the 29th of June. This says, personally, I feel Mount in a 4-2-3-1 would be great, is what Guna Dan says.
Mount and great does not work in one sentence.
I think he's going to prove you wrong. I think he's going to ball out at Man United.
I would love to, Terry, but you know what? I've been doing this for years.
And you know why I don't trust people like you with your opinion on these things? You'll know why. Because I know you're part of that same group that said Rashi and Bruno will be phased out by Ten Hag, and Donny would ball out, and Sancho would ball out. I bet you were part of that.
That's gaslighting 101.
I guarantee you were one of the guys that said, Martial, watch him come back. Iceman's back.
Let me do a Terry.
I guarantee you, all the people that delivered last year for Man United, you were like, they'll be phased out by the manager and won't. That's why I find it hard, Staffy.
Listen, Terry, I'm gonna do a Terry. I'll pay your rent for 1 year if you go and find a tweet where I said that. So if you can find evidence that I've said that, I'll pay your rent for a year.
Maybe I will, but I guarantee. Listen, I'm guaranteeing you, Mason Mount's gonna be a hit at Man United. I'm not his biggest fan, but I think he'll be a hit. Tevin here says, man always cool. Ten Hag is building a counter-pressing side, not a possession side. I think that's the confusion with a lot of people. And that may just be it. Maybe we're not looking to build a team that's possession-based, Staffy.
Well, that's why I said I think it's not even about being counter-possession. I think he's trying to win that ball up the pitch. I've seen him try to do that too many times, and he can't do that with Eriksen. If that's the route he wants to go, listen, I don't want people to mistake me for, because I'm giving my opinion for someone who doesn't support the club. I just don't support my club blindly, and I don't support my manager blindly.
I think you're fair to challenge him. I want to ask some of the panel. Igal, what do you make of this signing of Mason Mount to Man United? Do you think United fans should be as angry as Staffy? Should they be a bit more relaxed? Should they just give the manager his time? How do you see it, Igal?
I think nowadays we need to look at the money as and take that to one side, because I think the way the valuations in football are moving is making a player sound like a 60 million signing sound like a ridiculous fee, when in actual reality nowadays 60 million is closer to the 30, 40 that you'd pay for a role player just a couple of years ago. So nowadays, I think if you look at your team, you look at your squad, does Mason Mount make you better? I think he does. Personally, I don't think he's the game changer who's going to win you guys every game, but overall your squad has gotten better. You've now taken away a position in your squad where you'd be more dependent on Fred and McTominay, and you've replaced it with Mason Mount, who, let's be honest, is more serviceable than those guys. Yes, you've had to pay a premium, but that also could be because he's English and he's coming from another English team. And I don't know about what your situation is with English quota. Could it be for that? What your other reasonings behind it outside of just the fact that Ten Hag wants him? What other reasons why you wanted the player is? But hey, you got him, and for the age and the player that he is, I don't think the price is too ridiculous. Nowadays, guys, 60 million is the new 30, 90 million is the new 60, 120 million is the new 80. That's what it is.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. Don, as a Chelsea fan, this guy was your player of the year a couple of times. He had 2 or 3 brilliant seasons when he first broke through, helped win you the Champions League. Are you worried that if he gets back into his best form for Man United and starts to deliver, could this be a thorn in the side for Chelsea moving forward, or are you just glad to get rid of him?
To be honest, with me, like my thoughts on Mason, I was happy keeping him in the squad. During the season when he wasn't performing, I said this guy needs to get protected because he's just not playing well. Like, he needs to get taken out. But Staffy, you're being a bit harsh on him, and you're speaking about him as like he's dead wood. He's not dead wood. He's had a poor season. He's had a poor season. Like Terry said, when he broke through, he was really good for us. Player of the season 2 years in a row. Obviously got that assist as well to win us the Champions League. And in that Champions League run, he was one of our best players. So you're getting a good player, but my thoughts on him has always been the same. Like, you still need better quality around him, because I don't think Mason's going to be that guy to take you to the next level. But I do think that he suits how Ten Hag wants to play going forward. And when I've had a conversation about what makes more sense, what's the better deal between Havertz and Mount, I've said every single time I've been asked that question that Mount makes more sense because he's actually played in that role where I can see him in your midfield, and he's done quite well there for us. So I think it's a good signing. I think you're going a bit over the top for now. I know you're frustrated because you're seeing Caicedo, you're seeing Rice, you're seeing all these big midfielders, big signings being made by other clubs. But for now, I think just relax a bit until the end of the window and see who else you bring in. But he's definitely a good addition. Like, he's not a rubbish player. You've seen Ten Hag bring players back like Wan-Bissaka, who wasn't great. There's been players that he's been able to squeeze a lot out of. This is an England international, again, was starting for us week in, week out, playing well in various positions. So I think you've got a good signing here, but honestly, he's not going to take you to the next level as a starter, but he's definitely a good option to have. And like
So he's not going to take me to the next level, but you're asking me to relax. So what are we doing here if we're not going to the next level?
Be patient.
That's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Wait until the end of the window to see who else you bring in around him. That's how I see Mason working. If you're bringing him in as a starter, like week in, week out, and you're not bringing anyone else in of that level or even higher than him, then yeah, I don't think you're gonna go any further than what you did last season. But he's a good signing. It's a good signing that you've made. I know he hasn't been great for like a year. Even for England, he hasn't been great. But he's a good player. He is a good player. You just need to get that form back.
It's certainly an interesting one.